Hello, I bring you the shortening of the way as you join us here on the one-shot for Dune, Adventures in the Imperium, and what is probably the final chapter in the exciting and cliffhanger-filled adventures of our maybe slightly mismatched group of friends of chance. So let's bring those friends back into the pool here. Welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
So I understand there was a bit of a tea incident prior to the break that I completely didn't realize. Adding an additional layer of drama here. Do you want to talk us through what happened?
I think I played it off really cool. So basically, I have this mug, and I never use this mug because, as you can see, it's got a tapered base, and I am a clumsy human being. I never use it because I know I will knock it over. And then today I couldn't be bothered to wash a mug, so I used that mug. I was like, I'm probably over-egging it. But like an hour, 2 hours after using it, I just knock it all over my keyboard because there's nothing that says the barren desert of Arrakis like just dumping a load of liquid all over your computer. Well, just my keyboard. But,
Great.
you know.
Great.
I mean, tea disasters, classic British stereotype.
Well, let's carry on roughly where we left off. So you are dealing with two existential threats at the moment. The Ornithopter, I believe, I may be over-egging it, but some of you were hoping to escape on, is now a bomb. And there is a giant angry sand friend approaching.
Yeah, and there's a third one, which is these guys might just kill us in the Ornithopter. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't rate their chances because you're a trained armed killer and one of them has just completely failed to stab you despite the fact you're very close to them. The other one is already injured.
There's a potential fourth that Marcus has suffered quite a grievous wound as well.
Don't remind him about all the ways in which I should die in the next 30 seconds.
Oh, you're forgetting about the fifth, which is that Talia is about to turn around and stab Marcus.
Yeah, inevitable betrayal.
Do not spend threat to make that happen.
Talia kills everyone.
I think we carry on at the start of. I think we start a new round here, and I believe it's all of your turns, having just witnessed what is about to transpire. You two in the Thropter are now aware of some pretty critical problems that might be occurring in short terms. And Hassan, you have heard the shrill call of Wormsign.
So, I'll be... So how far... The Ornithopter is some distance away, isn't it?
It's a turn to get to the Ornithopter, I think.
Did we also hear the Wormsign call, or was the Thopter too loud?
I think we'll let the dice decide. I think the Thropter startup is going to make this probably a difficulty 3 in understand roll. But if you can find a way to make that work.
Okay. So
can I assist this by waving frantically?
Waving frantically.
Yeah, do you know what? Fair enough. It's
yeah, that seems okay. So I think this is what's my motivation? I guess it's truth. So understand plus truth is 13 for me. I'm just going to roll a standard difficulty. I got 1 success.
So if I'm assisting, I'm going to use understand and duty in this case, trying to keep you safe. And so that would be a target number of 13, and I rolled an 8, so you can take that as another success.
So you've got 2
successes
out of 3. Alas,
that's called a failure.
Hang on. Were you only rolling? How many dice were you rolling?
2.
Ooh, I mean, I am using. Oh no, sorry, no, I'm not.
Yeah, you can't impact Pierre's outcome any more than by assisting. So
I think I can hear the like blood thudding in my ears, and like I'm so hyper focused on like where this guy's knife is that I am not paying attention to
And his
Either the-
knife is everywhere. He is flailing at this stage. But okay, so that's go ahead.
I mean, could I either also make the roll using Diago's assistance roll or assist Marcus, if that makes sense?
I think that's pushing the bounds of what, because only one person can assist. That's enshrined, and I think reusing an assistance is probably a little bit rude.
Yeah, it is, but
But
I'm also
Talia's
trying to
really
figure out.
Don't
why
you have your
Marcus is-
own problems to deal with?
It's true. It's true. I'm standing on a bomb.
I actually
Yeah,
don't
never
know that
mind.
we're standing on a bomb at the moment, so I'm still
No.
happily fighting this guy.
And I don't think Talia would notice the Wormsign, so I'm not going to roll for it.
Okay.
Yikes.
Here comes those flailing knives again. Unless you want to keep the momentum here.
We do have momentum points to spend, don't we?
Let's do it. Let's
do.
keep the. I'll spend 2 momentum. To
Is it 2 or 1?
it's
It's
2
2.
to keep it.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, it's
It's
expensive.
2 and a +1 difficulty.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh
so
no,
that
+1
is-
difficulty if you keep. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
have an extra turn. Yeah.
So I actually do think that gives you a difficulty 2 on this hit because you have that active thing where you've discarded your injured trait for the meanwhile. Is that
Sure.
correct?
Well, that was just for the move test, I think.
Okay. Then I
Um,
regret to inform you you're facing a difficulty 3.
that sounds painful. I will
There's a
generate.
space here for assistance.
Yeah, can I assist him by, I guess, effectively distracting the enemy, being an
Yeah.
extra bod?
Yeah,
I think there's
nice.
definitely calls for a battlefield assistance here.
Okay, and I think I'm going to spend threat to be bold, and that buys an additional. I pre-roll.
Additional
may
3
reroll.
sandworms.
Yeah. So I've got 4 dice. No, I've got 3 dice because of the fact that I bought one with threat. Okay, and I'm just going to be rolling battle plus justice, I guess. Battle plus justice. I would like justice. I would like my good friends to survive.
Let's see
Oof.
how you do against 3.
I am so good. I have rolled an 18, a 19, and a 14, and I believe all 3 of those are failures.
That's not good.
Oh, that is the opposite of good.
I can re-roll a single one of them, but that would not allow me to hit a 3 success, so it doesn't really matter.
No, this is
It's called failure time.
yeah, how does this roll out? I don't think the distraction went as well as you thought it did. And this guy is not out of any particular skill. His panicked animal-like reflexes are just making it difficult to land a blow on him, and you fail to get any purchase. So those are your 2 out of 3 of our turns, I think. And now we have the captain who's going to he's going to make a bolt for the door, which is a move roll. Oh, I should get his target number then, shouldn't I? 5 and 5 is 10.
Can I try and contest? No, because I've already. No, never mind.
His injury gets the better of him, and once again I whiff the dice roll, and he kind of he is making his way to the door, but he fails to exit the thropter.
Getting a shot in the knee will do that to you.
Yeah, he's not a mobile friend anymore. So in that case, I believe, Hassan, it's your last. I think that because of the keep the momentum, you're the last person to act this round.
Well, I mean, so I'll be looking over at the struggle taking place at the Ornithopter. But really, my pressing concern at the moment is to spin round and try and find a safe spot to retreat to avoid being eaten by a giant sandworm.
Yeah. So strangely, the smugglers are actually. Can you give me an understand roll at difficulty 1?
Sure. Okay, right. And we are 0. Oh, yeah, okay. No momentum. All the momentum's gone. Right.
Actually, I'm going to spend a threat. The chaos of battle is getting to you. You're not really trained for this, so
No.
understanding finer tactical minutiae, maybe not today.
I mean, if he's spending a threat, you might as well spend it, give it right back to him. Just
No, that's.
That's,
Oh, yeah.
that's Pierre economics.
look. I'm trying to make Chris profit in terms of threat.
Why?
It's hard for me to spend this stuff.
Just make like one dice roll, 5 difficulty, and have us all die horribly as we fail to achieve it.
I'll be rolling understand and probably truth. Does that seem reasonable in this?
Yeah.
Again, it's my worst stat because I mean, otherwise, I don't know.
Yes, I mean, truth works. You're trying to see the pattern of motion among these people.
Yeah. 2 dice, so that'll be a target of 10.
You don't care about the truth.
And I get 1 success. I roll 9 and 12.
That is a failure.
No.
The smugglers seem to be in disarray. You can't figure out what they're doing at the minute. They're definitely doing something, but it's they're not fleeing in any one direction, but they're doing something. Okay, and that's the next turn. So I believe it goes back to you two, and you still have 2 active friends inside this soon-to-be exploding thropter. If anyone wants to take an understand roll, I can probably give you a countdown on that if you wish.
Can I have an understand roll for not understanding that the thing is about to explode, but like working out the motivation of the captain who is trying to leave the thopter rather than stay here? Like, even though I didn't see him do the beep, 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 can I just try and figure out why he would be doing that?
To detonate the thing, to
why he would be trying to escape the thopter rather than either fighting us or like piloting it away.
Having rushed over to it again.
Yeah.
You can go ahead. Give me that at like difficulty 1.
Okay.
Actually, you've got a complication. Let's go difficulty 2. You're not in the best place to be
observing the truth of things. Okay, is that understand truth?
I think that's understand. Yeah.
Okay, I got a 5 and a 13, which are both successes. So, I think I can see that he's panicking.
He's panicking. I think but also this guy seems a little bit more senior, and there is a glow of utter hatred in his eyes. I think his goal with self-destructing the Thropter was to kill all of you, and any time he has now, his self-preservation is of secondary concern, but now he's fulfilled his primary obligation. It's certainly fine for him to try and make an escape.
Right. Okay. Maybe fleeing this is the best move, rather than trying to kill this remaining frenzied knife maniac.
Yeah, that's a move action.
Yep, I will try and do that.
Cool. That's for you. That's difficulty 2.
Okay. This is a move test. I'm going to suffer 1 additional complication in exchange for scoring 1 automatic success on the test. And that's making haste. It's one of my specialities.
How many complications have you got now?
So I've got the complication of I'm bleeding out, and I guess I will see what the other complication is.
You have a situational complication of overconfidence, do you not? On your approach?
Oh yes, I also have overconfidence.
The 200-meter run.
I already know exactly where I'm heading to avoid the worm, but I currently don't know that there's a worm. So you know, I'm totally like one step at a time, guys.
One crisis at a time. So go ahead and see if you can move clear.
Cool. 9 and 14. Oh, and that was move I should have said what that was. I guess that's move and... Feels hard to know why I'm doing this. I guess out of duty, I ought live another day.
Everyone's primary duty is that of self-preservation, so yeah, that's fine.
Which was a mistake because I rolled a 9 and a 14, which actually means I only get 1 success. So I fail.
You definitely get out of the thopter, but you stumble with the pain of it all, and you are probably not far enough away to avoid getting a bit crispy.
Mm.
The other Harkonnen whose turn it is now, unless someone wants to spend momentum you don't have, I think he's actually going to try and rearm himself because he is not yet privy to the fact that the general situation and on board, as it were. So he'll rearm himself and he's going to take. And I think I think at this stage he's rolling kind of difficulty 3. So I'm going to spend a point of threat to give him 3 dice, so at least he stands a chance. And he is going to take a shot. John, it's going to be at Talia because you're the person who's still in the thopter.
Okay.
Alas, he misses, but not by much.
Alas, that's good.
And it's now your turn.
Okay. I am going to... I'm going to give a mock salute to the Harkonnen left in the thopter, and then I'm going to run for it. And if I can, I'm going to grab Marcus and to try and drag him with me.
Great. So let's get one move for those actions. I think you're angling for a move here rather than a communicate.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
I'd say we're kind of in difficulty 3 territory because you're kind of combining actions here.
Okay.
Is that fair? No, I tell you what, let's make it difficulty 3, but let's do so by the medium of threats.
Okay.
That at least makes it feel like I've paid for the misery I'm
Spend your vast ocean of threat on...
What momentum do we have, if any? None.
0.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Pierre.
You have to ask.
This is yours. All of this is on you.
He
I
does
accept
this in every
0
system.
responsibility. You knew what you were getting into.
It's true.
Okay, so it's a move. I'm going to use... Where is it?
Imagine how
I'm going
bad...
to use the drive of faith with the statement, I can always rely on myself, because it's self-preservation. And I'm going to give you 1... I don't want to blow up. I'm going to give you 1 threat. And I'm also going to spend my point of determination. I don't need to do that, do I?
Yeah, no, because that means you get 3, but you also get the safety net of the reroll, if memory serves. I think now...
Determination isn't a reroll. Determination is an auto-crit.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll be 2 successes. I'm rolling against 13. No, I'm gonna give you the threat. And I'm gonna have the auto 1 and the determination, and roll for the others. Because nothing else gives us momentum. I'm very glad. Oh shoot! I rolled a 19 and a 15, where my target is 13. So that's only 2 successes.
What, from the auto one?
Didn't you have 3 dice there to roll?
Yeah.
So you rolled a 19
So you rolled
15.
But
2 failures, 1
my
success.
determination turned one of them to a 1 automatically.
Which counts as 2, doesn't it? The one
Counts as 2. Didn't you
So
say it
that's
was
3 in
difficulty
total.
3?
Yeah.
So John, did you what were your dice rolls, John?
Okay, so I have 3 dice.
Mhm.
One of them is automatically set to a 1,
Okay.
and the
I
results in
see.
the other one were 16 and 19.
Oh, I see.
One
So
of
the other
which
2
is
were
success.
failures.
So that's three successes in total then, because the one counts as a double, doesn't it?
Yeah, so that counts as 2.
Yeah. So that means you've reached your 3 total successes.
Where's the third one?
This sounds like
coming
a Muppet sketch. Someone help me
Where's
out.
where's the third one coming from?
So here's the thing. John rolled 3 dice.
Yeah.
He said that the first one was counting as a 1, which counts as 2
Automatically
successes.
as a
There were
one.
2
Yeah,
other dice that both of those were failures. So in total,
okay.
you had 2
Two
successes.
total
There we go.
successes.
I'm doing this with fingers. Yes.
Yeah.
A failure. John.
But I am also using my driven. When you spend a point of determination, roll 1d20, and if it's equal to or under my discipline, then I regain the determination,
Oh, interesting.
which I do not do.
Oh my
Ah,
god.
so you've
So
just
you're-
wasted
you're-
your. Ouch.
Yeah.
Determined.
Does nothing.
I will
Determination's
live
no.
through this.
You dismount from the Thropter pretty well. Pierre is Marcus is difficult to get moving at the minute. He seems in a lot of pain.
I think I say, like, we're not going to both make it. Leave me.
Fair enough. I don't say that.
Real Atreides hours here.
Wow. Wow.
Self-preservation is key,
Mm.
Yeah. Oh
and I can rely on myself and need to trust myself.
Fortunately, you can spend momentum to resist death. If
Only
there was-
once per scene.
Which Marcus has already done.
and there's no momentum anyway.
Don't
Oh
worry.
dear. Oh, absolute dear.
I'm in trouble, guys.
Yeah, you are in some degree of threat here. Let me see. How do I kill characters?
So the one thought I have is, I believe that this Thopter is about to explode.
Yeah.
I don't yet know that there is a worm on its way, but is there any chance that I could activate my shield just to prevent the explosive damage, which might be a terrible idea, but like is better than dying immediately? Like,
You are aware that this is an awful idea, but it
Yes.
also might just save your life.
yes.
So I don't think there's any neat reason for a roll here. It's
Sure.
do you want to make your worm problem like 70 times worse?
I think I do. I think that is the option I'm taking, given the fact that like is the only option I seem to have.
I mean,
Also,
remember
there's a
that
rock
you're
outcropping just 200 meters away.
just
That'll make me
absolutely
safe
just
from any
200
worm.
meters.
Oh,
200
no.
meters exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. I think that's everyone out of actions this round, is it not?
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay.
I think so.
The the ozone tinge of the shield activating is very familiar to you, Marcus. What is not so familiar to you is being engulfed by an absolute conflagration as the Thropter explodes. Talia, you are thrown clear, believing Marcus to be reduced to a crisp. Hassan, you obviously witness the Thropter just erupt into a massive fireball. And can we start off, actually, can you give me another understand roll, but this time we're going to go down to difficulty 1 because it's becoming a little bit more obvious what's going on with the smugglers.
Is this everyone, or I say everyone?
Just you.
Just me.
I think
right.
the others are a little bit preoccupied.
Yes, that's fair. Understand. Okay. And this is for looking around me and figuring out what's happening.
Yeah, trying to see what's going on in the theatre
Okay.
of battle.
So that'll be truth again.
Yeah.
We have no momentum. I'm going to give you 1 threat and roll 3 dice. Okay. I rolled a 6, a 9, and a 16.
Cool. So you get, I think, 1 point of momentum back there.
Okay.
The smugglers are running away from the rock outcropping, which is quite unusual as it is the closest kind of rock, and toward the shield wall. some of them have got quite the head start on you.
How far away is this? Is the wall?
I don't think you ever vocalized the 200-meter decision, did you?
Me.
Marcus didn't know.
Yeah. So you can't really tell. You're not really trained to view things to get range find in the desert, and that would cost you another roll, which will kind of be your next turn's sort of action. Because we're just about. Actually, I think we're kind of coming out of combat now. So do you know what? Let's disable the kind of initiative thing, and you can go ahead and give me a let's say difficulty 2, because this is not your forte. Understand range finding. Kind of how far away is that?
Okay. Do I want to give you another threat?
Yes. I mean, all we have a momentum now.
Do we have a? Oh, in which case I'll spend a momentum. Yeah.
Spend. What is this?
Understand plus truth. Target of 10.
Have you ever played any Final Fantasy games? You keep every item until the very last boss.
And then you don't use those items because you're still like way too
still
OP.
Panicked, yeah.
Because you've grinded for 1,000 hours.
Okay. Now then, I do have a talent which is named Cautious, which I might bring into play here. Which is when I attempt to test using the Understand skill and I buy an additional d20 by spending momentum, I may re-roll a single d20 in that dice pool. So I rolled a 2 and an 8 and an 18. So I'm re-rolling the 18 and I get a 3.
Nice.
So that's 3 successes.
And that is 1 momentum back, I think. I set that at difficulty
Yep.
2. There is about 1 kilometer between you and the rock and the distance sound.
Yikes.
It's definitely achievable, depending on how far away that Wormsign was.
How fast are worms generally?
Not that this is not knowledge that's easily known.
No.
Yeah, I think most of the people who find that out do it by first-hand experience. They're like, wow, that's way faster than I thought it was.
So, Marcus, the conflagellation abates around you, and you are aware that you've done something very unwise.
Yeah,
but you are singed, but not like nothing. No shrapnel could get through the Holtzman field, so you are in one piece.
Okay, I deactivate the shield as quickly as possible and shout, "Run! There'll be a worm on its way."
There is.
What?
A worm.
The international symbol of worm. Didn't know you were Fremen.
I like look panicked across at Hassan, and I just start running as best I can in a sort of limp run kind of way, like, yeah, in whatever direction seems like the direction that most people are going, because I have no idea.
I'll be pointing towards the smugglers.
Partly delirious at this point. I don't know if there's very many options for me to. I don't think I have time to take medical attention to my wound, but I'll just sort of limp run as fast as I can.
So let's go ahead and let's get move rolls from all of you. I think we're actually back on track now, so let me see if there's any specific ways to flee this friend.
You mean there was always going to be a worm in the Dune campaign?
Named Wormsign?
Yeah, I thought that was just going to be like there's signs of worms, but no actual worms. Just
Little mound. Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was going to be this.
Yeah, exactly.
Difficulty 1 move test, please.
Right.
Now, here's the thing, everyone. This is an extended test
Oh,
because
boy.
you're going to
Okay.
have to run, and there's a requirement of 6 successes for the party to make it away safely.
Okay.
Okay.
So, actually, I have these 2 skills. One of which is like when I suffer 1 or more complications during a move test, and another is when I attempt to move test, I can suffer one additional complication. Can I chain them together to be like, I suffer a complication from my making haste, and I use
negate
my
it by being a badass.
yeah.
I have a feeling there might be a limit on taking more than one of these special abilities per turn.
Sure. I mean, there is definitely a limit in that I have to spend a momentum per complication I'm ignoring, which I guess means I'd have to be really reckless and spend all of our momentum, which I would never ever do.
Of course not.
But yeah, okay. Well, in that case, I'll just try one of them, which is making haste. When I attempt to move test, I may choose to suffer one additional complication in exchange for scoring an automatic success. So
Okay.
I'm going to do that. So in addition to my wound, I want to take an additional complication.
I think at this point you're going to be taking there's bound to be a nice psychological impediment that you are shell shocked at this stage, I think. It's got a bit too much, and while you are a swords master and you're following your training, this is your first real taste of kind of single against all odds bravado battle.
Yeah, this was a little more than I bargained for,
and that's going to impact any kind of social roles and probably a lot of physical roles as well.
Okay, so I'm rolling 2 dice. And I think I'm not really sure. It's hard to know what drive to use in the context of running for your life from a giant worm. It doesn't really feel like truth. Doesn't really feel like power or faith. Maybe faith.
Faith, yeah, I think faith makes sense.
Yeah, I was thinking either faith or duty or maybe power, because power is kind of a self-preservation thing, but it's probably, yeah.
I'll go for duty, I think, because it's better than 4 for faith. So that is a total of 13. And I will use up this momentum to roll an extra dice. I rolled 2 20s and a 6.
Oh God!
2 more complications.
2 more complications and 2 successes, because I did the thing that gives me an automatic success.
I think at this stage it's probably not unfair to say that you are immobilized.
Yeah. So I take a step into the sand and
I think that's it. I think you face plants. You are immobilized. You are unconscious. You are shell shocked, and you are wounded.
Okay. I'm lying in the desert.
You are lying in the desert.
This is bad.
This is not great. I mean, you could definitely carry him. Whether or not you'll make good time doing so.
All up to you, Talia.
He said leave him.
Classic Atreides.
It's either him or all 3 of us.
Well, if you're going to leave me, I'm not here, but you should probably turn on my shield.
Is being eaten by a worm better than just dying of exposure?
I think at this stage, you're playing on the difference between a worm that is already in a very recent killing frenzy that's going to last for about a week because of a Holtzman field nearby versus a current killing frenzy inspired by an active Holtzman field versus the fact the worm was coming anyway because you basically just had a massive foot drumming experiment on the sand. I don't know if activating a shield is going to do much to improve your situation.
Yeah, that's actually fair.
I'm just gonna quickly in hopes, have another look at our momentum to see if there's any way that we could.
We're on 0.
The momentum that Pierre just drained
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
awful
I was like,
roll.
it's really important to roll a good one.
No.
I mean, you
Yeah.
can spend threat, but there's a limited amount of threats to generate momentum that's going to allow you to somehow levitate. Oh, wait. Or is there? You can use 2 momentum to generate an object. Say, for example, I mentioned earlier there was a small wagon, a small, not a suspensor wagon, like a combustion engine vehicle.
We don't have any momentum.
But you can generate it with threat, can you not?
I don't think it's a direct. I mean, Pierre can ignore the complication of being immobilized by giving you 2 threat as well.
Yeah.
Oh, can I? Well, I mean, maybe I should do that rather than collapsing in the desert. But I don't know if it's possible given the fact that I had 2 extra complications on top
That's
of
true.
the extra one I was already. I think I was basically horribly taken out by the fact that like everything piled up on me. I don't know if I can realistically resist it.
Yeah. It would be against the spirit of the narrative situation. I think it makes more sense that after taking a wound to the stomach and fighting on for minutes afterwards, you finally succumb.
Yeah.
Now, there are ways out of this, but I think you're going to have to find a way to create. If only you'd banked some of that momentum.
If only someone hadn't spent it all.
Yeah.
Now this you can attempt to gain aid from the smugglers.
Can I? So I'd possibly look around to see if there are any, if the smugglers have any thumper devices, like in the bunkers or stuff like that. I mean, that's perhaps an asset I could try to look for, but I don't know whether that is going to be enough to even begin to change the situation.
Yeah. You would... Look, I'll give you this Dune lore for free, because you're in my domain now, fools. The impact of a Holtzman field activation in the open desert is apocalyptic to the worms. A thumper is an annoyance at best.
Right, yeah.
And it's not just this worm now. You've activated a thumper. There's 20 kilometers worth of worms are rounding on this location. And for the next day, the sand will be alive.
This feels antithetical to, I think, a lot of what I go for when role-playing. But Talia would look after herself, and Marcus has already said to leave him behind. So Talia is going to run.
Hassan, the diplomat. You have maybe a chance of attracting the attention of a smuggler to render aid to... Well, you can see what's happened and you can see what's transpiring. Otherwise, you need to make a start.
I know.
The desert is not kind.
Especially to Outworlders.
I mean, if there's a smuggler that I can sort of attract the attention of, if anyone else has seen, what Marcus has done and what predicament they're in now, I'll turn to them and just sort of, please, can you help? Is there anything we can do?
I think this is a fair roll. I think actually it's a fair roll, and it's going to be a difficulty too, because they have seen this machine gun of pain take down 3 or 4 of these Harkonnen aggressors, and he is now stricken. So you can appeal to their humanity. And that's in your wheelhouse as well.
Yes. Let's communicate. Oh God. At this point, it has to be faith, I think. I'm just, So, okay. That's 7 plus 8, which will be 15, a target score of 15. If this strips my diplomacy focus, that could mean...
I think so. I think we can argue that in this case where you're trying to
bargain for my life.
Bargain for someone else's life, yeah.
And I'll give you a threat. So that'll be 3 dice. Oh, now then, is there anything?
Oh no, Chris has hit maximum threat and his camera froze briefly.
Wow.
Chris is ascending to a new plane of Twitch existence.
So there's one more talent. I don't know whether it'll come in here. When you attempt a communicate test and you buy 1 or more dice, it does say by spending momentum. So is that this doesn't activate if you're buying it with threat?
I have abilities that say different things for momentum and threat,
okay,
so I assume not.
That's a shame. Okay. 3 dice then. And target score of 15, I believe.
I believe in you.
I roll 13, a 10, and an 8.
Those 3
successes.
For the first time in a while, there's momentum back in the pool. Hands off, Pierre.
I'm currently unconscious. It makes it very difficult to take the momentum. But as soon as I regain consciousness...
You managed to get this point across to there are about 5. So of a few more smugglers kind of came out of the base when Wormsign was called, and just they're carrying packs, and they are absolutely pegging it towards the shield wall. One of the 2 smugglers that remain anywhere near close to you just kind of bundle over towards Marcus and kind of try and pick him up and start running with him. Kind of, it's expected that you're going to help. Now, because of this, I'm going to turn the difficulty 6 desert crossing into a difficulty 8 desert crossing extended roll.
Right.
On movement. So,
by the way, did my initial... I realized that during that thing I passed out, I did actually get 2 successes. Do those count towards the thing or not? Towards the 8?
Yes, do you know what? Those can count. So let's go down to 6 again. So you're back to where you started.
We're on 2 out of 8.
Now, let me try and remind myself exactly how these extended rolls work.
I guess there'll be a difficulty, and then so every time you succeed, it knocks 2 points off.
Yes, that sounds right. Actually,
yeah. So it's not directly tied to the number of successes you get. It's that if you succeed, you get 2 points knocked off or towards the total, I believe.
Who can say?
Okay, here we are.
I dream
Character
of...
making an extended test. Rolls as normal. They gain at least 1 success. They gain 2 points towards the requirement. Momentum can be spent to add to the points scored. Pierre, keep your hands off. The game master may roll complications, adjust the amount as well.
Which I think
if the character has not gained enough points to meet the requirement, they can roll again to add more points, taking additional time to perform the action. Once they have enough points to equal the requirement, they have achieved the task.
Great.
Yeah, it's like how long it will take rather than whether it will be accomplished.
Yeah.
Well, luckily there's no time pressure in this situation, isn't it?
Yeah.
So get to rolling then.
So Pierre rolled 2 successes, which was 4 points, right?
I was reading that as... Actually, I don't know. I was presuming it was like a maximum of 2 points per roll, but...
That's correct. That sounds correct to me.
Yes.
So, okay, yeah.
Cool. If they gain at least 1 success, they gain 2 points. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we are currently on 2 out of 8, and I will keep track of this because I am the unconscious one. So I will give you guys
move rolls, please.
I rolled 1 success. So
So we're 4 out of 8.
I'll be using move and faith again because I'm running for my life.
That's all you got left.
Yeah. This is a target score of 14. Oh, I roll a 5 and a 1.
Ooh,
Excellent.
so that's
So 3 successes, but 2 points.
cool. So we're on 6 out of 8. So it takes us at least another round to do this, assuming that we have another round.
Yeah.
do extra successes generate momentum?
I think
I
yes, it's still a normal
presume,
test,
yeah.
so that can go into the pool.
So what was the difficulty? 1.
The difficulty was 2.
Difficulty was 2, so that was an extra 1.
Okay,
And now we have momentum of 2.
you now have momentum of 2. You also, in your ears, can hear the phenomenal sound of hissing and kind of dull thuds. Anyone brave enough to take a glance over their shoulders, perhaps?
Well, you have to, don't you? You always have to look back.
You always have to look back. The worm is the worms come up to the surface to kind of gauge the distance, and then they dive under and then attack from beneath. This one is on the surface and it is convulsing, almost trying to double its efforts towards the site of where the ornithopter was. It is not a large worm, maybe 100 meters. With a kind of 20-meter kind of mouth cavity. So if you're lucky enough to avoid its initial attack and sequentially lucky enough to avoid getting absolutely pasted by any of its segments coming at you, then this is all looking up. But
We do have an image which is kind of illustrative. If not necessarily canon.
Yeah,
That's from the quick start.
I think that looks exactly like what's going on right now. That worm is obviously unpleased. You have a turn, though, because you are, for the meanwhile, spared.
Wow. We should carry on running, I guess.
Yep, that sounds like a good shout.
So the next batch of rolls, then, please.
I think as I'm being dragged, I sort of dream of sunset over Arrakis or something.
Probably Caladan, in fairness, back when.
Oh yeah, Caladan
was
is well.
far fewer massive terrors.
Yeah.
I rolled a 1 and a 3, so technically 3 successes.
But 2 points towards the skill, yeah?
Yes, but an extra momentum.
Extra momentum. It's amazing how this. So that would actually be 8 out of 8, right?
I guess it would be.
Yes.
Because we were on 6. And that takes us to the wherever that leaves us, I guess. At the shield wall or near the shield wall?
At the kind of start of the solid ground leading up to the shield wall.
Okay.
If it's useful, I rolled 2 successes and spent another momentum. So
Feels like we broke the back of it, did we? I think that's us hit the target number.
So you spent another momentum. Cool.
Yeah.
Everyone except Pierre, who has enough problems, gains a complication of exhausted, because this was the last possible moment. You find the smugglers, few have stopped outright, but some of them are kind of lurking behind an outcropping, and the other smuggler kind of gravitates towards them. They look pale, and as you approach, you go, "What on earth? I've never seen any. What is going on? We're still, like, if it keeps on like that, it's going to crush us here." They start to make their way further away from the worm and indicate that maybe you should follow.
did I see Marcus's shield activate, and would I know about, is Holtzman shield fields near worms? Is that common knowledge, or is that? I
I think it would have been in the training, whether or
Mm.
not, and you've already demonstrated you have success in recalling
Yeah.
training. So the question is, did you see the shield activate, which is more of a difficulty 2 kind of observation role, understanding.
Mm.
I mean, maybe even the fact that I survived the explosion.
I mean, that's
another kind of would be a tell, but let's give
Yeah.
that just give me that roll as is to see if you can connect the dots or recall the
okay.
the
I'll just do a
faint
flat
shield.
2 dice roll, I think. I get 1 success.
That's not enough to meet the target number.
So yeah, okay. Well, I'm not immediately thinking then that Marcus is the cause of this extra worm.
Extra wormy.
Mm.
Yeah. You carry on up the there are a good maybe 5-6 kilometers between you and the actual start of the shield
Wow.
wall proper, but you are on solid rock now. There are outcroppings occasionally. You with great difficulty kind of move yourselves further up and eventually come to where the smugglers are camped out. You smell before you see the packs they carry have a very strong scent of cinnamon. They went straight for the spice and damn all of their possessions. They are just sitting around, some looking out in terror, and Guerra, the captain, is there, and he kind of sees you coming and goes, "Seen this before. Someone switched on a shield. It'll be like this for a day." Well, everyone who didn't die survived, so there's only the small matter of our life's possessions and materials now gone.
But 12 more Harkonnens are dead. And you've got the spice.
He reaches into his pack and kind of throws a thing over to you and goes, "You call your people for aid. I don't think you're going to be getting any more from us today." He goes, kind of rounds up and goes, "Okay, 20 kilometers hike to the nearest good settlement. Let's get it done. We'll find a place to shelter and then we'll go the next morning."
I'll make a final bid of, I'm sure they can get a Thopter out big enough for all of us.
I don't think would be in the mood to share a Thopter, given the events. You can see that some of the not all of his people agree with maybe the hardship, but there's definitely kind of an agreement with the sentiment. They'd like an easy way out, but also this is a hill they will die on, potentially literally.
Right. All right then. I'll make the call to the Atreides. Whoever's manning the Atreides switchboard.
Yeah, basically, you get a call off to basically the via relay station. You get through to someone at that Iraqi spaceport, and in Atreides battle language, you give them a very brief sit rep and a call for aid, and then a very language specifically designed to do those things quickly and succinctly. And rescue is dispatched. You finish. Greer is still there. His compatriots seem to have almost disappeared now, and he's just kind of gestures for the communicator.
I'll hand it back.
Probably won't see each other again. Good luck against the rest of the Harkonnens.
Thanks, I'll pass that along.
He kind of turns and makes to leave.
I think as this is going on, I would, if I can use 2 momentum to find a first aid kit, a medical kit or something, I'd be attempting to stabilize Marcus's wounds.
Sure. One of the smugglers, who's one of the ones you kind of orated to earlier, kind of surreptitiously gives you the equipment you need, and before he melts off with the others. So you have what you need to kind of stabilize Marcus. He's still unconscious, but he's definitely actually no. He comes round, but he's still immobilized. You are in a lot of pain.
I like look round briefly, and I'm clearly amazed that we made it to some sort of rock. I think I just sort of weakly say, "Thank you." You didn't need to do that. And then like I think I'm pretty out.
It's
as Marcus loses consciousness again, I'll like slap Hassan on the shoulder and just say, "Yeah, you did a good job."
Well, thanks. I'm not sure. Well, I think we've burnt a bridge here. I'm not sure we did what we needed to, but in the situation, I guess, well.
We made introductions, and some Harkonnens are dead. And we also know that they're leaving their troops on the planet. We've got no chance of proving that, but Thufir will want to know that.
It's some time, obviously 30 minutes at least for the rescue to arrive, but arrive it does. You are bundled into the back. Pierre, you get some slightly less first aidy, maybe some second aid care in the back of what is essentially an evacuation thropter that you notice seems to have already seen some use. And you take off as the sun finally dips below the horizon, and its remaining reds and golds leave you with a very beautiful sight over the brutal desert of Arrakis. I think that's a good enough point to end it.
Nice.
Mission failed.
It's like my dream.
Wow.
That was a fun failure, though. I enjoyed myself.
My favorite part of that was the 10 or so minutes where you guys were discussing whether I should live or die. It was good. I could see the like, oh, we don't want to die as well, and probably we will if we stay. But on the other hand, it was good.
The question is at which point we failed the mission.
I mean, definitely from the turning the shield on bit.
I felt like we failed the mission as soon as I landed that ship in a like a way that didn't conceal our position, or at least that was the catalyst, I feel, to the
I think
failure.
to quote some old Fremen wisdom, a worm always comes.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough. I really enjoyed the like details of this, but yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much of a direct answer you want about when kind of it was lost. I think I feel that when you couldn't get Pierre, you can get Marcus safe without relying on the smugglers was the bit when there was kind of a acknowledgement that these people are not experienced.
It's a one-sided, yeah.
And that kind of cascaded with the fact that a shield was enabled. Now, they have no way to prove it was your shield that was enabled, but you weren't very badly singed during that explosion, so they could probably put two and two together.
Yeah.
So there we go. As is tradition, if anyone has any comments or anything they'd like us to have a quick chat about in this moment, throw it into the chat. I will take this moment, as is tradition, to remind you of our other shows that we're running at the minute. We have that one that I've already forgotten the name of. I'm pretty bad.
Shadows of Esteron, I guess.
Shadows of Esteron, which is kind of a low fantasy medieval
Gothic
setting.
horror, yes.
Gothic horror
Yeah.
setting, run by Johnny, who you may know from our also very well-received Call of Cthulhu game, which was also very horrifying in a very slow buildy kind of way. On Wednesdays, we have the epic ongoing campaign of Throne of Thorns and Cymberum, a campaign so large they haven't finished writing it yet. We are on book 1 of 5 published, if my understanding is correct. And then on Thursdays, we have the Cincinnati Chronicles, an episodic classic 20th edition World of Darkness playthrough, which is very interesting conceptually. One day in Cincinnati, one 24-hour period in Cincinnati, from the perspective of a differing group of vampires, werewolves, mages, wraiths, and changelings. And no demons, even though that's a very fun game that people should play. That's all I've got. If anyone has anything fun to throw up on screen. Yep.
Indeed.
That's what happens when you hire a criminal. Like,
the thing is, you'd mentioned that your other desire was your secondary was a Bene Gesserit.
yes.
Who wouldn't? I don't think in the strictest application of their ways and means would have done anything particularly different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just love playing a type, you know, traitor
Yeah.
to your friends.
Wow.
Oh, I'm going to remember that on Wednesday. Betray the heck out of you.
Oh. And another warning sign, I think, for us all that we should avoid playing any currency system-based games with Pierre, who is a
Currency
danger
is-
vacuum.
It is there to be spent.
By you.
Well, yeah, I am there to enforce that it will be spent by someone. I think that there is like, I don't know, it's definitely like encouraged by the system because it says you'll lose 1 per scene. So if you don't spend it, you lose it, and also you have a cap of 6, which obviously, depending on how difficult things are, you can hit pretty quickly because, you know, if you have a bunch of difficulty 1 tests, it's just that towards the end, unbeknownst to me, things were going to get more difficult.
Because difficulty always,
Yeah,
there's
difficulty
never any.
throughout a narrative.
Yeah. That's good narrative design. Is like
Just flat,
everything was
absolutely
easy for
flat.
the characters forever.
Yeah.
The hero's
No,
journey as written by IKEA.
It's an interesting system. It's
I really like it. I'm actually very interested to learn a little bit more about it because I understand this is just the tip of the iceberg, and the fact that threat is generalized is used to allow you to have quick and easy mechanical resolutions to very big situations.
There is an interesting thing of like what the like mechanical purpose of threat is, because like I think like my impression is that the reason that threat exists is that the players tend to give the GM threat, and therefore the players can't really complain when the GM uses that threat against them, which I think is designed to like try and make it so that we don't have any animosity towards the GM when they do bad things to us. Like we're not like, oh, Chris,
you're complicit in the.
We're like, yeah, we
thing.
gave you that threat, so we can't really complain when you use the threat that we gave you. Yeah, it's interesting that 42 talks about like threat currency system not being needed.
And I completely agree, but maybe for different versions, because I am a strong defender of the GM's right to be the sole arbiter of existence inside a game. And not have to kind of split their desire between, am I setting a difficulty for this or am I spending a currency to do this systemically? Because that's an additional thing you want to think about, and you want to remove any chance for the interaction to be adversarial, unless that's specifically the kind of game you want to play.
Yeah. I think it depends on the group as well, because like I definitely have this thing of if the GM kills me in a game that is an RP game, like I'm just like, that is a good story, like great. I mean obviously I have an attachment to the characters, but like I want like good stories contain bad things happening to characters that I love, so I want that to happen. And so I feel like maybe the threat thing, or like threat currencies in general, aren't targeted at like players like me who sort of I feel like it's trying to deal with animosity that I don't actually feel towards GMs.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like, good GM, you're screwing me over. Brilliant.
And
I mean, I guess the question is that how many groups are set up to be happy in that situation? How many are just coming into role playing? How many need some guides or sort of indicators that this is fine? You know, you can have a good story whilst having a bad time as a character. So and it's not something you I guess you need to. You don't have to use it. You can hand wave it away and because essentially, certainly with us on the game, Chris has an infinite threat pool, so essentially can.
Chris could have made he could have made arbitrary tests right at the end incredibly difficult if he felt like it.
Yeah,
you know, and it was just his judgment that was like, this is how difficult I think the thing should be.
And I suppose I think it relates a lot to what your concept of success is, because that was a successful game. There were no character deaths, but the mission that was set within the constraints on the stage, as it were, was a failure. Like it was a bit of a botch. So it's, but there was still the experience of getting there and the fun getting through the task. So I think that went pretty well.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Even though it was a disaster from beginning to end. Actually, because it was a disaster from beginning to end, it's great. I love it.
So I think with that, we will maybe wind up here. Thank you very much for humoring my absolute delight in being able to Dune all over the internet for a few hours. What's a good saying for finishing off a thing? There's a Fremen saying or a Fremen parable that say you injured your arm, the naive of the siege would come and just cut the arm off, and they would say to you, it's good, now it is finished because it is ended here. So thank you very much to the players. Thank you everyone backstage as well. I know we were all kind of wrapping our heads around the systems here to try and make it as smooth as possible. And hopefully we'll see you soon here on Telling Tales.
Farewell.
Goodbye.